So we're looking at comparisons with Orkney, Cymru, Cornwall, and Cumbria. Now, the site in front of us is not in Orkney, it's actually in Aberdeenshire. And I wanted to look at sort of discoveries throughout 2020. Well, 2020 has been a bit of a bad year for archaeological discoveries. But nonetheless, things have been found. So the site that we've got in front of us is actually an ancient hill fort, amazingly enough, found in Aberdeenshire. Now, I'm looking at that image there. I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, ancient hill fort in Aberdeenshire, hailed as Scotland's most exciting archaeological discovery of 2020. Now, it's amazing that thing behind me and what's in front of you has been found in 2020. I'm absolutely amazed. But it probably goes to tell me that if something like this can be discovered in this day and age, there's lots more places out there to be discovered under those trees, even though we've got LiDAR. Around the coastline, there's so much to be found even today. And that was actually found in May 2020. So this is the find of 2020, I believe, but it's close. Researchers said as many as 4,000 people may have lived in more than 800 huts perched on the hill near a place known as Rinny. And I'm thinking, well, I got to be honest with you, surely that's got to be over-exaggerated. The scale, 800 huts, I'm just really struggling to find out how you're going to get 800 huts in there, but maybe this is slightly exaggerated. The thing is, this site itself, it is something very, very special. It really, really is. And, you know, it doesn't surprise me what people still find. It's just so obvious. I'm sure a simple flyby across Wales, everything's going to have been found by now. But this, I know it's in Scotland, similar terrain. You know, Ellen's just joined us, which is great. I know it's in Scotland, similar terrain, and it, you know, there's more that can be found. So the scale of this Pictish hill fort, yeah, it's Pictish, the word's Pictish. So it's, there you go. The discovery of one of the largest ancient settlements ever discovered in Scotland has been hailed as the nation's most exciting archaeological find of the year. Actually, one of Britain's most exciting archaeological discoveries in quite some time, actually. And again, stressing what you're seeing there, nobody's ever found before. And even if they had, nobody had ever said anything. So the Society of Antiquaries of Scotland said the hill fort at Tap O Noath in Aberdeenshire proved that significant finds were continuing despite the pandemic. I think they had to put that in there. That was being written in May. So I'm just thinking of this. How exciting is this? Described at the time as mind-blowing. Yes, it is mind-blowing. And I can tell you guys at this point of recording, the most important dinosaur footprint has just been found on Saturday along the South Wales coastline. It's the most important dinosaur footprint found in a decade in Britain. And guess who went down there to identify that footprint? I've got the images and everything, and maybe I can show you that again. That's just been found as well. So talking about discoveries, I know it's 2021, right? But I know it's a dinosaur footprint, but I know we like dinosaurs, but you know. So anyway, back to this site itself, back to this site, mind-blowing. That find that I saw on Saturday, that dinosaur footprint, for me was mind-blowing. This is mind-blowing as well. Archaeologists believe at its height, the hill fort, the fort, let's call it fort, Pictish fort, may have been among the largest post-Roman settlements in Europe. And maybe maybe what we're seeing behind us is only part of the site, the central part of the site. That's what I'm probably thinking as we look at this. So we've got another little image I just want you to have a look at. So let's just sort of look at that image. So we've got this aerial view. Oh, let's just pump this up. Let's just pump this up a little bit more. You know, I'm thinking that there's more to this site around. This is a central bit of the site, but that card gives you a scale. So I'm just struggling to see how many. Oh, you get 800 buildings in there, but then again, if you're spread across this landscape, that's the center of it. That would sort of make a little bit more sense. So there they are, sort of excavating. Nice little bit of an archaeological jolly. Great. And they're investigating this site. It's good. It's good that people are excavating in the pandemic. It's good that things are still going on, which is fab. Anyway, back to my little notes. Post-Roman settlement. Yeah, post-Roman. Now that's interesting for me to mention the word post-Roman, hill fort, bank and ditched enclosure, whatever. You could think that something like that, me and lots of other archaeologists would say definitely Iron Age, but it's not. It's post-Roman, and this is very similar. It's very similar to when you look at the hill fort at Dinas Powys. That's post-Roman as well. It's not Iron Age, banked and ditched enclosure at Dinas Powys, recognised in the 1950s. That's from this same period as well as when this is being constructed. And that age-old question is what happened in post-Roman Britain. Where did all the people go? They went in other areas that we're only just discovering today. They're excavating there. An image of the excavation is hope that more excavations will take place at the site next year. It also has the potential to be a major tourist attraction for Aberdeenshire when travel restrictions are lifted. The site topped a list of most significant finds in Scotland in 2020, compiled by the Society of Antiquaries, which was founded in 1780. Other discoveries on the list include evidence of a woven Neolithic textile on Orkney. That's why that's the link with Orkney, yeah? And the unearthing of hundreds of medieval skeletons during Tram excavation works in Edinburgh. So, you know, you got prehistory there, you've got sort of early medieval, you've got medieval stuff. That sort of those three sites really cover it all. So this image that I'm going to show you now, I've got more about it, okay? And obviously, you know, I'm handling this so far tonight, but obviously, any point I'm going to be hit. So let's just crack on, and I'm appreciating everybody keeping stum tonight as well. There. That is evidence of Neolithic textile there, that it's an impression in the pottery. Okay, it's not the world's bestest find, but it's significant. So the Orkney discovery at Ness of Brodgar this year, made by a volunteer who noticed an impression, the fabric left when it was pressed against the wet clay on a pot 5,000 years ago. So basically somebody's working a pot, right? And it's fallen over and there's an impression on it, or however, or they leaned against it, or however this is created. You got an impression of textile. Now that's great, absolutely great. Anyway, back to this site that we're looking at, the one in Aberdeenshire. So let's sort of get back to that image again. Let's sort of move back a little bit. Let's sort of go above again, look down at it. So this find itself is very much what I feel about Cymru, what I feel about Cornwall and Cumbria, sort of embracing what's out there within your environment. So talking about this Scottish site, archaeology is all about discovering Scotland's stories as much as it is in those other areas I've mentioned, particularly with this site, Scotland. And these are just some of the new chapters that have been added despite the pandemic. And things are being discovered all the time. And we can't just have a pandemic and not have things being discovered, because when we look at Wales, we look at aerial photography, new things being found. So, and it goes, here we go, despite a lot of archaeological work being put on hold this year, there are 1 or 2 discoveries being made, and contract work, building work hasn't stopped. When you look at the discoveries in Edinburgh, for example, building work hasn't stopped. Research work hasn't stopped. This archaeological work is crucial to our understanding of Scotland's past, and we're delighted to support and promote the fantastic work being carried out throughout the country. And I think this next statement goes for everywhere. Society of Antiquaries of Scotland said the COVID-19 pandemic has had profound impact on the archaeological sector, with the majority of commercial digs being brought to a standstill during the lockdown, and most community-led groups unable to continue their work at all. But work has continued at some sites, which is brilliant. So we sort of go over a little bit, blasé, over to the Ness of Brodgar. We're all aware of that site. We know Bill and Pat have been to the Ness of Brodgar with me. Ness of Brodgar, mainland Orkney. And so if we move on a little bit, oh, there it is. Bill remembers the Ness of Brodgar. There is the excavations at the Ness. So there's a lot more going on, Bill, isn't there? There's excavation work over here, which is new. This image.
That is new, yeah, it is.
Yeah, this is from 2019. But obviously the textile discovery 2020. That's what me and Bill and Pat saw over here, and Pete as well. So the only one who hasn't been there is Ellen, which is a bit of a shame. But
covered in rubber tires when we went past.
What's that?
It was covered with rubber tires when we went past.
Yes, it was. But Pat and Bill, we have seen it naked. We've seen the archaeology. And talking about running around the ring of Brodgar naked with Kathy, we're not supposed to mention that. But anyway, this textile find, looking at this site. So Ness of Brodgar textile among Scotland's most groundbreaking archaeological discoveries. It's in those list of 3 that we mentioned. This is released. This article is really new. It's the 15th of December 2020. You can't get any better than that. Just a month ago, this was being released. So the Ness of Brodgar excavation site, evidence of a woven Neolithic textile found during post-excavation work at the University of Highlands and Islands. The most groundbreaking discovery of 2020. You know, when I was looking at that dinosaur footprint on Saturday, I just thought, is this as important as I think it is? And I just thought, yes, it is. It's absolutely amazing. And I'm sure just that thread, just that little thread. Let's just look at that little bit of a thread there. Let's just get that on there. At that little thread, it's little dinosaur footprint, major find. That thread textile 5,000 years ago. We don't need the actual organic evidence. There it is. That's what that is. You know, that's the archaeology speaking for itself. This is why these things are important. And the other one of the things which is a bit of a shame throughout this pandemic, and I'm going to spit it out, is that it's a shame that so many people have been furloughed in museums and so on. This is why I was involved in this sort of discovery near me of the dinosaur footprint on Saturday and Sunday, because the museum didn't have staff. They've all been furloughed, and it was like, Carl, can you just go out and see it? Okay, because I'm not furloughed. And one of the big shames is shame about this is that they could have had staff in isolation doing research, finding new things like this. This tells us this. There's so much that archaeologists could have been doing to sort of say, wow, you know, this is in our boxes. You know, most of the great discoveries these days are in boxes. They're not on archaeological sites. This is one example of that being discovered in the laboratory in the University of Highlands and Islands. So the COVID pandemic has had a profound effect, but people have still tried to do their bit. So again, organic material from prehistory does not often survive. So the study of Neolithic textiles has to rely on secondary evidence like this. It's secondary evidence. It's after the event, or it's part of the event, such as the impression that the fabric left when it was pressed against the wet clay of a pot 5,000 years ago. And Pat's fallen asleep. The impressions appear on the inner face of the vessel, which suggests only a fragment of the vessel, which suggests that they were made by the potter's clothing during the pot's creation. As I said, leant against it, or maybe it fell on the floor or something. The Ness of
Looks more like a
Brodgar.
cord to me.
Oh, Pete, it's organic. It's Neolithic.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Yeah, it does look a bit, yeah. Textile, cord, yeah, it is cord-like rather than, but you could argue, Pete, let's just get a little argument.
Fair enough.
It could have been a cord from his clothing. So
Yeah,
everybody's
yeah.
right, really.
Oh,
No,
yeah,
what you're saying is right, Pete. What you're saying is very right. But as textile evidence, whatever this is, it's 5,000 years old. And we know it's
fair enough.
5,000 years old because it would have been made when the pottery was wet. So it's a great piece of evidence. It's great.
Yeah.
I agree with you. It's great. So the impressions were discovered as they were looking at the pottery. Taking multiple photographs, analyzing surfaces of pottery. This is in many ways why we've got to examine every little archaeological artifact sometimes, because sometimes the smallest mundane of pieces of archaeological evidence are sometimes the most important. It's finally this little article that I've got in front of me. It says it goes on to this. It talks about this Edinburgh tram line again. This is the previous article, moving away from Orkney just a little bit. The discovery of over 350 burials, which could date as far back as the 1300s, came as no surprise when they were building this tram line in Edinburgh. But this wasn't the team's only find. Others included a cannonball that may have been fired during the 1559 to 1560 siege of Leith, pottery, a Dutch, a coin of Dutch origin which dates to 1628, and bones from the fin of an adult sperm whale dating to around 1800, which shone a spotlight onto Leith's industrial whaling past. All of these discoveries being made in that wonderful Scotland. And it goes to show that things are happening out there, and we are keeping the ball rolling. So I'm going to go on to the next area now. And it's great to have you along, Ellen, as well. I was just saying, Ellen, we're starting a new 8 next week. And where we're going to go next? Well, we've done Orkney, right? So now we've got to do Cymru, Wales, good old Cymru. So let's show you where we're going to go next. Oh, we're going to Borth Beach, not Porth, Borth Beach in Cardiganshire. That's where we're going to go along the coast. Bingo, voila! Do you know what? I've seen the ones at Maros Bay. In Pembrokeshire way, but these are spectacular. No, absolutely spectacular. And it's sort of argued by some people. It's argued by some people that these types of things stick out at the mud at Porthcawl when it's really low tide. I keep hearing rumours, and the so-called black boys of Lantworth Major may actually be these very things along the coast. The coastline itself was 100 kilometers out at one stage, and this was part of a wonderful dynamic woodland that was created after the ice melted 10,000 years ago, and slowly but surely the roots were poisoned, the landscape lost, and we still have Noah's forests a quote from Clement Reid's 1913 book, Submerged Forests. And that book itself, he mentioned Noah's forest, the inundation of the sea on Noah's land. I like that, Noah and the Ark. So this is Storm Francis. What did Storm Francis do? So we've got to go to September of this year. Archaeologists discover, after the storm, exciting lost ancient beech forest. I know, I think Ellen was going to say that she's either seen them or they've been known about for a while. But storms always bring up new things, new bits of archaeology. This ancient Borth forest, you know, some people use the word ancient and it sort of, you know, oh, that guy over there, he's ancient, you know, Pete's ancient, you know, it's in the wrong context, you know, they're not ancient. You're not ancient, Pete. Thank you very much.
Oh, that's all right then.
No, you're not. I just saved you from that. As a collective, these timbers themselves, some of the finest around our coastline. This is a very exciting, the writer of this little piece mentioned. It's additional evidence of past climatic change and why climatic change is always a working process. Environmental change has been going on for a long time and it will always continue to do so. Remember, we are still technically in an ice age because there's ice on the ice caps. Hopefully that ice age will never end, but that's life. But these sort of rediscoveries, these sort of reappraisals of our past, and is this evidence of climatic change? Is this just biology? No, it's archaeology. It's because they occasionally find evidence of tools. They occasionally find human bones and animal bones associated with this in the root systems as they've just been unreeled from the mud. And they actually see cut marks in the timber. So we know humans have been there. And we certainly see evidence at some of the sites of that as well. It's due to the impact and the various storms that we've been having that feel they are happening more. But maybe I think it's that people are taking more attention of this wonderful, dynamic, rich landscape of the past. Previous carbon dating of the remains has placed this forest, not early, but much later, as being inundated around 3,500 years ago. And the ones along our coastline, Barry and the Vale of Glamorgan, that type of ones, when the Barry docks was being constructed, those timbers those woodlands forests were lost probably around 6,000 years ago. These were lost about 3,500 years ago, but obviously the water's rising in different areas at a different rate. So this is why you've got this forest along the Borth coastline very much existing to such a late date. So if we sort of move a little bit further and sort of look at these, again, there's some of the root system, absolutely beautiful. And it's the type of thing that people want to go down and they want to take a photograph. And if children are with their parents, they say, Daddy, 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 can I take a piece of this home with me? And the answer is no, because when we went to Maros Bay with a group, I said to everybody, don't touch any of the timber, just leave it. Just don't touch it. Please don't touch it. Anyway, I got back to the Progen class the following day and everyone said, look at the size of timber I got from the beach at Maros in West Wales. You know, similar to this type of stuff. And I said, why have you got this? And they said, oh, we wanted to give it to you. And I said, well, why didn't you bloody leave it in the mud? So I had to, I had to spend time conserving this stuff, and you just couldn't conserve it. So I ended up putting it in the freezer. And I think then when we took it out and we tried to dry it out, the thing decayed quite rapidly. So in other words, when you go to these types of things, just leave them there for somebody else to see, you know, even if bits are floating around, you can't preserve them. They're just so old, you know? So, oh, look at that there. Oh, no, we've gone too far. Again, just something else to say about this. According to the legend, the kingdom was lost at sea when Sedeniv, the guardian of the sea defenses, forgot to close the gates. So this wonderful forest become inundated. Another version of the myth states that the forest once stretched 20 miles to the west of Cardigan Bay. Well, it's not a myth, that's reality. It's an addition to what we already know about the extraordinary number of petrified trees that have been found all along the coast of Wales, and they continue to be found, and so much wonderful. It's exciting because we have found another one that hasn't been recorded yet. So the one that you're actually seeing, even though there's loads in both, this is a sort of new one that's been sort of revealed. The extent of the prehistoric forest geographical size was first realized last year after Storm Hannah exposed a considerable mass of it. But the new storm in September 2020 revealed many more trees preserved in the local peat have been exposed by low tides and high winds, moving this wonderful dynamic landscape around. So here we go again, and just think, we're now, so we've done Cymru now, or have we? No, we haven't actually, because I want to screen share this little article. And if I can bring it up here. And you know what? Strangely enough, I can't find it. But basically, right, I'm just going to type in, hello, Michelle. What I'm going to do, guys, is I'm going to type in something that I had on the computer a moment ago. And it's about the aerial views. That's what I want to show you. Yeah, we got it. Lovely. I'm hopefully going to be able to show this to you. Here we go. And, oh, and I'm seeing something else as well. More stuff found on the Gwent levels in 2020, which I didn't know about. What I'm going to do, I'm just going to quickly show you this because I know I've shown you this over the course of the year. But if we can just sort of go with, let's go and have a new share. There it is. Bingo. Love it. Thank you. Now, what you can see, aerial photography. And that there in front of you, I know you want me to zoom in on that, so I sort of will. Look at that there. I know I remember mentioning this. This was another discovery of 2021. Monmouthshire reports that an analysis of aerial photography taken in 2018 during a record drought has identified now in 2020 3 Roman forts in Wales, a marching camp, a villa, and previously unidentified sections of road. So that's the Roman stuff. And it goes on to say about this aerial photography, this is when Wales is still a dangerous place to be for the troops. They are still under attack, so they're building their forts. So lots of these things have actually been found. These have been re-examined from the droughts of 2018. The archaeologists have pored over these aerial photography, and in 2020, this information has been very, very useful. So what I'd like to do next is I would like to go to, actually, we're going to do guess the landscape. Where is this? It could only be one of 2 places. Pete?
Well, it could be Bodmin Moor, or it could be the Lake District.
There you go. It's Cumbria. Well, you could only have done one or the other, Pete.
Well, yeah.
Actually, I like the Bodmin Moor because there's that ancient primeval forest woodland in Bodmin Moor, and there's water and there's trees. Yeah, Pete. Yeah, I'll give you marks for that. Yeah, I'll go with that one. So so the next thing I want to do now is I would like to just read this out. Actually, this is a nice little thing. Grisly discovery as archaeological dig sheds new light on Cumbria's Roman past. Well, we couldn't do this without the Romans. Finds hint at specialist Roman tile factory, while full of mystery of 800-year-old skeleton, may never be completely solved. Major pipeline route was moved to preserve the find. Archaeologists involving medieval ruins near Cockermouth, which is in northwest Cumbria, stumbled on something even more interesting, an ancient skeleton and tantalizing new clues to the area's Roman past. So obviously the skeleton's a medieval skeleton, but obviously putting the two together there. So the evidence that they're talking about as part of building work, finding coins, pottery sherds, and various other archaeological evidence associated with United Utilities pipeline as part of funded work that's being taken place in Cumbria to supply a new water supply. And I like this little thing here. Not all archaeology is deep under the ground. Literally, as we took the grass off, we exposed the foundations of medieval buildings. But what we didn't expect to find underneath were the foundations for a very unusual large Roman structure. So underneath the medieval, containing the remains of a kiln or oven with evidence of burning still present. Buried under some backfill at the corner of the medieval building, we found the remains of a skeleton laid out. Usually a grave cut can be seen during excavations, but here there was no evidence of one, suggesting the body may have been put into the rubble of the Roman building during the medieval period. So just been dumped in the building remains, just sort of out the way as they're putting the medieval building up. So there's a medieval Roman link there. That's where the 800 comes into it. So after months of analysis, detailed analysis, they understood to the building to be dating to about the 100s, 200s, part of a prestigious large Roman settlement associated with the Roman fort in Cumbria known as Pap Castle. The medieval building was then constructed directly on top of this Roman building, reusing the stone there. And again, this only illustrates the ongoing work that's been going on 2019, 2020, 2021. Initial worries that the skeleton was victim of ancient foul play have also been allayed. After being sensitively exhumed from its resting place, the skeleton was sent for specialist analysis. This revealed no signs of violent death. It was more likely to have been death by natural causes, with the analysis indicating a man up to 40 years old suffering from serious degenerative joint disease, which may have contributed to his death. Again, more grisly on this report. We don't know what happened to the man or why he was buried there as he was. Perhaps he was a member of the staff associated with the monastery. It was old age that killed him, 40. So in other words, Pete, me and you should already be dead. But the Roman building is a very exciting and unusual find. You don't usually find such large Roman buildings outside the site of a Roman town, but here they are, they found one. All that sort of wonderful evidence. So by sort of examining trenches and new work, all this is sort of bringing new light onto our past in many, many different areas. And 2020 hasn't stopped things. So finally, the only place that we've got left to go to is
Carl,
Cornwall. Bill.
can you hear me, Carl?
Yeah.
You mentioned Castlerig then, and a tunnel found under Castlerig Stone Circle, which we went to on a return from Aiden's Wall.
Right.
Did you pick that up?
Yeah, I did. Were you actually seeing what I was reading on the screen then?
Yeah.
Yeah.
A tunnel under the stone circle.
Yeah, I noticed that. I skipped past that. So we're doing everything we can to prevent damage to our buried history, including completing one of the longest tunnels in Europe at the moment under Castlerig Stone Circle near Keswick to avoid disturbing any Neolithic remains. Well, that's really interesting.
It's a modern tunnel, is it?
Yeah, but hang on a minute, Bill. Stop. All this fuss made about Stonehenge, which is justifiable fuss, and nobody ever said anything about this one. I'm just shocked. They dig a tunnel under Castlerig, nobody knows about it, and when it gets to Stonehenge, everyone knows about it. Yeah, thanks for pointing that out. Yeah, that is relevant. Okay,
It's not a millimeter.
have a quick read of that, guys. If there's anything you want to see, and I'll have a quick drink, and then we'll do the last thing, and then we'll call it a night. I'll give you a sec. Anyway, good of you to. I don't know if Ellen's still there, but thanks for joining us, Ellen. I was saying earlier on that we'll be finishing very shortly. I'm not well. It looks like we've been reinfected with COVID because it's where Michelle works. They're not, that's the way it is. So anyway, if everyone's read that now, I'm going to go on to the last image. 1, 2, 3, and this is being recorded anyway. So anything you haven't picked up on, we can pick up on that. So last screen share, and let's go back with that, and bingo. Oh, we're back to here. Now we've already looked at this site before, but we couldn't miss out Cornwall. And I know I've already done this before, but big but. Carlstock Roman excavation reveals unexpected mine, and they've been doing further research with Exeter University in regards to Carlstock. So archaeologists dig in near a Roman fort in Cornwall at Carlstock. Carlstock is basically the eastern end of Cornwall rather than the western end. So this is a fort. They knew about the fort, and the University of Exeter have been working at this wonderful site. And the excavations were a rare glimpse, and the analysis of it from 2019 to 2020 revealed a rare glimpse of timber-built Roman military buildings, as well as rubbish and cesspits. An important find because we've got another Roman fort in Cornwall. And he said the only other Roman forts discovered in Cornwall are at Stallen near Bodmin and near Restormal Castle. So this is one of 3. A site that we were going to visit when we had our trip to Cornwall, which we didn't actually get around to doing. When we had a good look at Cornwall, we were mentioning the Roman villa near Camborne, and we were mentioning roads and all that wonderful data. And just finally, I'll just share this little article with you. Might pick up some other things on it. So if we just share this, and then I'm very much done for today. So as I said, Ellen, I was saying earlier on, we've got next week a new 8, and actually Jessica will be presenting next week with basically on it's an artifacts thing, and that's what we're doing. So I'll introduce next week as well. So anyway, so these images sort of excavating in the area, and you've got evidence of mine working in the area and the fort, and then recording. You can't really see much there, but that's associated with the Roman road, that surface. Roman roads are really difficult to identify. And there they are excavating again. Further excavations planned by Exeter University. The line of the Roman road is revealed to the west of the fort. So this is the surface of the Roman road. And that there looks like a more sort of later Roman road surface as well, I think, actually, if that's my proper interpretation of that. And then if we sort of, and that's basically it. So what we're going to do, we're going to finish there. I'm going to find out if there's any questions. Are there any questions from anyone? Bill?
No, it's just good to be updated about what went on last year, Carl, because as you indicated earlier, I assumed that nothing is going on and everything was shut down. But at least there's something going on. There's always something to find. Yeah.
Things have been going on. So,
well, people probably getting away to these faraway places where they're away from the crowds, and that's how they've discovered these things which are off the beaten track.
Yeah, exactly. But it has been the problem you mentioned about Bodmin Moor with the wonderful primeval woodland there. People have been going to, sorry to use your words against you, they've been going to these out of the way places and a lot of damage has been caused to Bodmin, but
Sadly,
they
yeah.
haven't been going to all these places. So your point is very valid. I completely agree with you, Pete. I do, yeah. Ellen.
First of all, apologies for being late. I'm sorry.
It's fine.
The black boys, as you go down the slip in Lantrit on the beach, the black boys are on the left, but the trees are further down on and much further over on the right.
You went down there.
Yeah, remember when Kathy came? Yeah. Yeah, but it was when there was a full moon at the spring tide, so the tide was really far out.
So that's a neap tide, isn't it?
No, that's a spring tide.
Spring tide.
Neap
Okay.
in August, yeah.
Okay.
Neap tides are the small tides.
Right. Okay. Rather than the 7 ball, which is a big tide.
Spring and the autumn are really big.
Right. Okay.
And coinciding with the full moon as well.
Excellent. Oh, thanks for that. And then Pat has the last say. I can't hear the wonderful woman, but that's life.
Muted.
She's muted. Hang on, unmute. Ask to unmute. You're doing it.
There. Sorry. So yes, I enjoyed it. Excellent. And thank you for hanging in there when you're not so well. So get to bed.
Yeah. I need it. So anyway, I really appreciate your support tonight, and I'll be seeing Pat tomorrow, and Ellen tomorrow, and Bill, and I'll be seeing Pat soon. Pete soon. Pete, best of luck with your sausage shop.
Just a point, Exeter University is now in Penryn.
Where's what unit? Exeter University is in Penryn?
Penryn, which is next to Falmouth.
All right. Fair enough.
Yeah.
Why are you disappointed?
It's taken over Camborne School of Mines as well.
Right. Okay.
Camborne School of Mines, one of the most famous mining colleges in the world, is now part of Exeter University.
Well, at least the building's preserved there, Bill. Peter.
Oh, it's a convent they've taken over.
Oh, blooming hell. I can imagine archaeology lessons in there. And just to let you in on it, Ellen, right? Jim, listen to this, right? I wanted Jim to drop some stuff off at Pete's.
Yeah.
And I sent Jim an email, and I said, can you drop this stuff at Colebrook Road to Pete the Meat? Right? So he sent me an email saying, I'm gonna paraphrase this. I looked on Google Maps on the left and the right end of Colebrook Road. I looked in the middle. I could not find Pete the Meat's butchers. He thought Pete the Meat was a butcher.
You should have given him the house number.
I did. I got it ingrained. It's 28. Oh, we'll cut.
It's okay. We've been there.
Don't send him to 28.
All right. If that's not the number, it's fine. Good.
It's 32. 28's 2 doors away.
Ellen, he's not good at this, nor am I. Oh my God. Okay, folks, we're going to stop now, right? We're going to stop now.
You should have told him the motorhome's on the drive.
Oh, for God's sake, just give away everything. All right, then. Okay, right. We won't tell everywhere where Bill lives, but he's now got a nice house in Swansea. Oh. Anyway, if there's no other questions, thanks for joining me tonight. Peter, thank you very much. Pat, Bill, and Ellen.
Yep,
I will see you all soon. And thanks for your support. And thank you very much. Night, folks. Night.
Good night. Good night, all.
Lots of love, everybody. Bye. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye. 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 Excellent.
Right, look after yourself.
I will. I'm gonna lie down now. See you.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you very much for that. And knackered. Thank you.